This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know. Some rockstar dads who started a show. So here's the next episode.
Welcome to the Rockstar Dad Show, everybody. And my voice cracks. I'm leaving it in. I don't care. I'm freaking calmer than you are.
All the time now, day to day, Tyler's just like, Dad, did you just hear my voice crack?
Oh, my goodness. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Jaret. Gary is here. We're from the band Bowling for Soup. We do this show as well. You don't even have to like our band to like this show. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think most people probably do. I was going to say, I was going to be self-deprecating.
We're pretty dang good.
We're pretty good, but yeah, man, it's weird. I just got off vacation, and one of the things that was very, very different this year is that my 17-year-old is now my height, and his voice is like, yeah, like mine never has been in my entire life, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I mean, he looks like me, but he stayed skinny his whole life. So obviously he's going to be of a different, you know, I think he's going to take more from my ex's side. But, you know, I don't know. Kind of hoping he'd be cursed with the high voice, you know, just so I could make fun of him and shit. But no, he does not have the Muppet voice. He just sounds like, Dad, what are we doing for dinner tonight? Do we have to eat fish again? Well, we're in Florida.
I can't picture Jack with a deep voice. That's so funny.
It's really weird. I mean, it's weird. He's just so grown up.
I don't know that it's like anything on him that I can't picture him with a deep voice. It's just because he's, you know, he's been a little mini you for a long time.
Just a little mini me forever. And yeah, but yeah, vacation. Went on vacation, went down to Florida, and I was going to do a deal from the Musacha tapes because he goes, went down to Florida to do some muff diving, you know. Went to Florida. We had a great time. You know, it was supposed to storm every single day, and it did, but just for like a little while. But one of the things that we like to watch storms here in Texas, right? Like, okay, tornado warning. Well, let me go outside and see what that looks like. And you stay until like a lawn chair flies by your face, you know, and then it's like, okay, well, I'll go in there with the kids and the wife in the closet with the little wind up radio thing.
Yeah.
And the couple of bottles of water that will last us for however long it's
minutes.
Just minutes.
Yeah.
And, but man, why not? We watched the storm. And it is so cool watching a storm, like an ocean storm that's like, you know, out a little ways to where it's never going to make it to you. But like the lightning will just go across the sky in ways that, you know, it's like fireworks. But it's like fireworks so much that this is happening at like 2:00 in the morning. And, you know, all the condos face out. And like when a really, really good one would happen, you'd just hear from all different directions, yeah!
That's funny.
Just everybody up drinking, watching the storm, and you know, it just I loved it. Very relaxing.
That's fun. I've never like watched a storm like that from the ocean, but whenever I was in my teen years, I'd go work on my uncle's farm sometimes in the summer.
Yeah.
And like there's a weird thing like being out in West Texas and you can just see forever because it's flat, right? And yeah. I remember multiple times like being able to see a tornado off in the distance.
Right.
And it's a really weird thing in that situation because like where I am, it's just hot. But I mean, it's like peaceful and nice. And I remember like thinking like over there, it's just chaos, you know, like but it's in the middle of a field. But like, you know, tornadoes are crazy, violent and chaotic. So I remember that being a weird thing.
Where he used to be for the listener is, you know, West Texas, where when Texas gets made up, when people make fun of our state or not, I guess poke fun, whatever. I don't give a shit, but whatever. When people talk about it being flat, I mean, you can literally see forever. I mean, you don't ever stop seeing the ground.
Yeah.
You know, when you're out there in that area. And so yeah, I mean, you can see things that are happening that are so far away. You're like, yeah, well, that's never making it over here. I'll just, you're just watching you're right though. It's kind of weird, right? You're watching the debris of other people's shit.
Yeah.
It's just flying up, and wow, it's crazy. Man, speaking of just really wacky shit that it's hard not to make jokes about, is that when this comes out though, I guess this will all be done, but there's that submarine that's down in the water, and that's all the news is talking about now.
Yeah, I didn't go there when you said you're in your closet with like 2 bottles of water. Immediately I was like, oh, those poor people, if they're still there.
I just keep getting clings to me like cellophane, flick plastic submarine. I just get that in my head. Yeah, it's yeah, man. But back to well, I'm gonna talk about vacation. I'm gonna tell you a story in a minute. And it's not my usual story, but I will say that we had a great trip that, like all of the younger kids are getting to that point where they don't fight all the time. And so like, it just was so nice and peaceful and just great. And, it's just really nice to get away every once in a while. I don't think I used to, I think it's very new for me to go and actually enjoy that. I think it used to sort of stress me out to be gone and away and not be able to, I'd really like to be on my email right now, and that stuff. And it's kind of cool now. I'm just at a point, I guess, to where I'm the only one that has my phone within, like, it's wrapped in a towel right by the swimming pool. And like, I have my glasses right there so I can switch to, I am checking, a couple of times an hour, I'm looking at Instagram and making sure that and posting shit and, whatever. But for the most part, it's kind of nice to get away and just, that my kids, Emma's 20 and she's so fun all the time now. Like everything about her is just great. And Jack's 17 and he's fun. And, he's a teenager. And then, like I said, the littles were getting along, and man, it's just a great time.
That's like quite the transition. Because like whenever the kids are little, I mean, vacation is just busy, right? Even though you're on vacation, you're still okay. Let me find some Cheerios. Let me go, let me go get another diaper, and like you can't be anywhere for too long because they're bored, throwing a fit, yada yada. You're just on the go, right? And then, like you said, the next step, they get a bit older, but if there's cousins or friends or whatever, they're fighting or they're this or that. They're still not old enough where you can't not be watching or participating. And then you get to the next stage where Tyler is now. Like he's not trying to start fights or whatever. He's not messing around with the cousins. Like he's just kind of self-sufficient. And then you get to like where your kids are.
Yeah.
They're just hanging out and chilling with you.
Yeah. I mean, and Emma's almost 21, so quite frankly, I bought her Trulies, and we have a drink, and we're having a great time. But you're right about the little kids, and like going, like we didn't even have to pack snacks to go down to the pool, because it's just like if Everett's hungry, it's like there's the window to the thing over there. You just go order something, and he just go over there and order his own thing, and it's kind of nice. Yeah, I mean, Emma asked me at Christmas, she was like, "Do you miss when I was little?" And I said, I miss aspects of you being little all the time because it's a memory, but it's not like unlike other things in life that I miss. Like I don't sit here and just wish that you were still little. I mean, I wish there's aspects of it that I miss, but what I said, I go, I'm just so glad I have you now like this, because I love our relationship. I love being able to talk to you and, share in life, and you talk to me about things and, talk about the future and kids and all of those things. And she was like, wow, that is a really good answer, Dad. And I meant it too. I mean, like, I'm not really one of those stop the clock guys. I get pissed at myself for not remembering more. Like I'll be like, okay, I've got to remember all this cute shit they said, but it's like, but that's like that in everything, it's like, that's like third grade, you remember, 75 things that happened in the third grade, and that's your experience,
I love hearing that. And I love that answer. And it makes me think, like, I remember, when Tyler was a baby, he's my first one. So, whenever he was little, little, and everyone being like, just wait till he's 5 or wait till he's 10 or wait till he's 15 and all this stuff. And it always rubbed me the wrong way. Cause I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm just happy right now. It's great.
Yeah.
Right. But then every step of the way, I've also just been like, this is awesome. And I remember whenever he was 5 and like, you know, one of his cousins was probably Tyler's age now, 12 or 13 or something. And me watching him with his dad, and I was like, you know, like that's not as cute as what I have now. But, you know, now that we're here, I'm like, oh, we got there, and I understand it, and it's an awesome place to be. And you know, it's kind of just enjoying the ride, and every step of the way is great. And you look back, and I, like you said, I don't miss all of it. There's cute moments, and there's good things, and there's sentimental things, but like I'm happy where we are.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we talk about this in the band all the time. Like, you remember the good parts, right? Even of the shitty situations, the breakdowns and the this and that, we remember the fun part of the story that comes out of that. And I don't know, I guess having young kids is like that. Like, there's some hard times with young kids.
Yeah.
But then whenever you're looking back, you're just like, oh, that was great.
It's a really good correlation, though, because it is like, and we've talked about this so many times, it's the funny stuff that comes out of the shitty times that like really just, you know, makes sense. So it's like, you know, like when you're when everything is, you're doing everything you possibly can to just get through something. And like, there's some sort of thing that happens during that like, after you're done with it, you're like, yeah. And you know, then you're laughing about it, you know? And you're so right. 'Cause, you know, God, that's really, really smart, because, you know, the thing about it is like when kids are really little, toddlers, and, you know, as we talk about the terrible threes, you know, there's a lot of days, you know, as a parent where you're just like, I am in over my head, you know, like this is so much, and, you know, and with just life and all of it, whatever. But you're granted all of those little things, you know, like putting together her first bed and me hitting something with the hammer. And I went, God damn it. She goes, God damn it, Daddy. And it's just like, you know, I've got that forever. But yeah, man, I mean, you know, and just like you talked so much about you and Tyler getting out there and throwing the ball, and that's really your you time, and those things are that he's going to for sure remember and all that. And, you know, I try to be mindful of it. But I also, you know, you beat yourself up sometimes about like, well, am I around enough? Am I doing this or whatever? You're never going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, that's just it. What you can hope for is a 20-year-old that sits and tells you that you're the greatest dad of all time, and that she wouldn't change anything, and she loves you so much or whatever, and makes you cry while she's having a Truly with you and opens you a Miller Lite and hands it to you. That's what you can hope for. And
I got chill bumps on that, man. That's awesome.
I mean, it got me. Well, I have to tell you a story about me and Emma. We have to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you a not so funny story. And so y'all hold on to your hat. We're going to talk a little bit about, well, you're just going to have to wait. Y'all listen to this. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. We're on iDoby Radio every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We go to podcast every Wednesday. You can find us everywhere. Just go to idoby.com, and I think it might be idobyradio.com. I don't know. Just honestly Google Rockstar Dad Show or me or Gary, and actually you're listening to this anyway. You probably have a better understanding where to find the show than we do, because you're literally listening to it right now. And we don't necessarily listen to ourselves. Not even while we're doing it.
I'm pretty sure right now someone's calling you a boomer.
But I'm not, right?
No.
Like I'm not that old.
No.
I'm close.
You're Gen X, right? Yeah.
I'm Gen Xer. Yeah, I'm an Xer. Well, you know, we had a great trip, and I really can't look back on much of it and say anything, you know, negative. And even the story I'm going to tell you is not something that really could have been helped, but we go down to a little place outside of Destin where we stay called Miramar Beach, and near there they have this thing called Crab Island. And what it is it's basically this little area underneath the bridge that joins Destin with the other side that has the airport and stuff. And it's just this little area where it's only like 4 feet deep, but it's like in the middle of the ocean, but it's huge. And so boats go out there and just dock, and restaurants and bars, just roll up there in boats, and they're people rolling around selling shit, and it's just a glorious time.
It sounds awesome.
It is so much fun.
I want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fucking going every year now. But so we rented a pontoon boat, and I rented a couple of jet skis. And the jet skis, when I got them, I went and got one, and then Fisher, my buddy, got the other one. And we each got a life jacket. Well, I didn't worry about the rest of the life jackets because we had life jackets on the boat, and I'm doing that like in quotes.
Yeah.
And that was my understanding, and off we went. So, we're giving our kids rides all day and all that shit. And, man, we just had a blast. Just a really great day. Starting to get towards the end of the day, and someone had come by, and one of the kids had on one of those orange life jackets, and they were like, hey, he can't have that on the jet ski or you'll get fined. They have to have those kind like you're wearing. Well, we just had these two, and quite frankly, they're pretty ill-fitting, just basically like these two pieces of that neoprene shit that go around you and just some straps. It wasn't not even like the ski jackets like what we used to wear when I was a kid. It was just really nothing like that. And so we basically just were down to one jet ski if you're a parent taking a kid out or whatever, and then one of them was starting to run out of gas, so we were down to one, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go for a ride. And Everett didn't want to go. He had gone out with Derek and with his papa already, and Casey didn't want to go. So Emma was like, I'll go with you, Dad. And so off we go onto our jet ski ride. And so there's a low wake thing where you try to get out of this area, and I've got on the life jacket that I got, and she's got the one that Fisher had on. And so when you get out of the low wake area, which is the Crab Island thing, basically they don't want you making waves. For those of you who are not, privy to the whole fucking sailor code. Anyway, but then there's an area where you just let loose, right? And so we started going, and we're having fun, and not nothing crazy, but two boats passed us kind of at the same time, and when it did, it sort of caused this like huge sort of like drop. And when we dropped in, at first everything was fine, but then we just tilted just enough to where we went over. And so when you go over it, I've only ridden jet skis in lakes, and that's the fun part of it in a lake. Like you fucking fall off and then you laugh and you go get back on, right? Well,
right.
This is towards around 4:00 in the afternoon, and the tide had really gotten crazy. I mean, there were just the current, I guess, because we were out, and I mean, the waves were big, and we're laughing, me and Emma both, but my jacket is like floating up over my head, and I'm like trying to pull the thing down, and she's, again, it's just right there. It's like the jet ski's like 6 feet away from us, and so she starts to swim over, and she goes, I'll just get it, Dad. And so she goes over to get it. But about the time she gets there, they're probably 10 yards away from me. And I said, well, hey, I've got the key on my wrist.
Uh-oh.
And she goes, well, so I start swimming, and she goes, Dad, it'll just be faster if I just come to you because you can't keep that jacket on. And I couldn't. I mean, it was like over my head. Does that make sense? It's like floating up.
Yeah.
So like it's like it's got like Princess Leia, on my head kind of thing. And so she swims to me and gets the key, but by the time, and as she's swimming to me, a boat comes by, and they're like, hey, do y'all need any help? And we're good. But by the time she gets to me and has the key, that thing is now probably 30 yards away from me. And we're out there by ourselves. And this is where it got really, really fucked up. So Emma is like, Dad, I can swim that. And in hindsight, I should have just been, man, let's just sit here and fucking blow this whistle, and just somebody will come and just give us a ride over there to the thing, and we'll, but I just couldn't think. We just weren't thinking clearly. She goes, I can swim that, whatever. And I'm just like, okay. But so she starts swimming, and the more she swam, the further it was just getting away. Like it was just and there's a time where I can't see her anymore. And I'm like yelling, like I'm just trying to tell her to come back, and I'm yelling and I'm praying, and I'm just like, I'm sitting thinking that at one point, like, I don't fucking see her anymore. And then her arm would pop up because she's swimming.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm like, oh my God, thank you, God, like whatever. And then I'd lose her again. And I'm just screaming and screaming, Emma, just come back, just come back. And so this seemed like an eternity. And at this point, what I don't know is that she can't see me either. So she thinks I'm gone.
Oh my God.
And I can't tell what's happening with her. And the waves are getting bigger and bigger. But like, I mean, I've grown up around water. I've been in the ocean a lot. But it was like doing the thing where it was going over my head. Like the waves were so much that like I wasn't even having time to float on top of the wave. So it's like going over my head. And so like, someone's getting in my nose. And I was like, Jesus Christ, Jaret, like you're going to fucking drown. Like this is crazy. Like I just never in my life imagined being in that type of situation, never. It's kind of hard to believe, honestly. Like because logical me is still there going, this is crazy. You're going to be fine. But, I don't know. Anyway, I see two jet skis pull up to where she should be. And then I see her get pulled up onto one of the jet skis. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Well, right then a boat is passing by and comes to me. He's like, do you need help? And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, my daughter is just getting put on that jet ski and we got thrown off. So I'm just hanging on the side of the boat. They're like, do you want to get in? And I'm like, no, she can just drive over here and get me. And, but she still can't see me. So she drives over, and then my poor child literally gets there and loses she's lost her goddamn mind. Like she thought I was gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it was fucking terrifying, but these really nice people stopped. They, so there's like an older man sitting on the boat, and he feeds me out some rope, and he goes, here, pull yourself in on this. Well, as I'm coming in, he kind of keeps feeding out rope. And so I'm like pulling and pulling and pulling. And I go, Jesus Christ, what is this? A fucking magic trick? Like, I'm just like pulling and pulling and pulling. And I go, can you please tie that onto something or what? And then his son, I guess, who's like probably my age, is like, Dad, get out of the way, and like ties the thing off, and I pull myself up. But I was proud of myself for still being hilarious in a moment of such fucking panic. But yeah, they pulled me up on the they had a ladder, so I got up on the boat and then got on the jet ski, and off we went, and went back. But it was real fucking scary. It really kind of stayed in my head for a few days, like big time, like just sort of like the what ifs and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it just made me really, really just consider, I'm just never real weird about like, we've got to make sure we have the right life jackets and this, that you just think to yourself, well, this is what everybody else has. Fuck it. Know? And, anyway, fucking scary experience. And, so many things I would have done different. I mean, first of all, when she got there and she didn't have the key the first time, all she had to do was really pull up on the little tab that the key thing keeps up. There's basically all that the key is just a clip that keeps this little tab pulled up to where when that tab goes down, the thing cuts off. So she could have just done that and come back. But also, I just don't think I would have sent her. Yeah. I think we should have just stayed there and kept each other afloat, and fucking, there's little whistles and you blow a whistle, and people fucking hear the whistle and come get you, So don't be afraid to ask for help, guys.
That's terrifying how like such a innocent, routine, everyday kind of situation can turn terrifying and dangerous real quick. And Jesus, that's scary. I'm glad everybody's okay. Yeesh.
Yeah, it's real hard because you start to think too, like, well, God, I mean, all the what ifs of like, so there was like a chance that the pontoon boat had to be returned with one of us not on it, and you know what I mean? Like it's fucking crazy to think about, but that shit happens, I mean, it just does. We lucked out. It's funny. It's sort of like it's such a stupid analogy, but it's just like I won't ask for help at Target. If I can't find anything, it just then it's so I just you hate to ask for help in those, but we should have just asked that very first boat, like, hey, yes, we do need help. Can you guys grab hold of that motherfucker and bring it over here?
Yeah,
or take one of us over there to get it or whatever. We do need help, and. But we didn't do that. Instead, but again, we had no idea. We'd been swimming all day and the current wasn't an issue. And then all of a sudden, it just fucking was. And man, I just can't tell you how fast it happened. Like how fast that thing was so far away. Like it was unbelievable. Like you just 1 minute, it was just right here. We just fell off that thing, and there it is just so far away.
You probably don't realize it, but you're probably getting dragged one way and it's getting dragged another way. So you think you're stationary, but you're going different directions.
Most likely. Yeah, most likely.
Jeez, man. That's terrifying.
Yeah, man. It's terrifying. I haven't got to tell the story, except I texted the story to Rob because he just happened to text me that night. And I told it the other day to our friends Mark and Bonnie, and I started crying. So I did pretty good on this one. But it's it sort of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, though, and mine and my daughter's relationship. And oddly enough, like I feel like you go through things like that, and it makes you closer, And now I give myself the chills, but not that I welcome things like that, but I equate it to being in Bowling for Soup, and some of the things that we've went through together that were, well, I mean, we've had. Things that were very, very dangerous, things that were fucking life-threatening, in our band. We've had, those things and and taking each other to the hospital and all of those things. And it really is an interesting thing what it does to your what it does to your bond, you thinking about not having somebody around. And anyway, that got dark quick. I'm sorry.
No, but Jesus, I mean, it takes some time to process it and get over it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And for each other and one another to process it and get over it and get through it and work through whatever. And it may not be, next week whenever you're joking about it, but it may be it may, if next week you go, hey, remember when we almost fucking drowned? It may not be that may be traumatizing, but in 5 years at Thanksgiving when you're like, hey, remember that time we almost lost the jet ski and drowned in the ocean? That may be a funny story. I don't know. That sounds really serious to me right now.
Gary, the day after it happened, I walked out to the pool with everybody and I go, hey, remember when me and Emma almost died yesterday?
Yeah. I'm sure you did.
You know that me, there's no too soon. Yeah. I just attack it. But I was still,
But that's your defense mechanism.
100%. 100%. It's what I've retreated back. I mean, I talk about this in therapy all the time, but I've retreated back into self-deprecation or just sort of like falling back on humor, making things that even like, remember when Mom drove the car through the house, and like, which did happen when she was drunk, when they were still drinking. And, like I fucking went to school the next day. Yeah, my mom drove the car into the house yesterday. It was crazy, and like, I've always been, and you're so right. It is my defense. And then some people, it's not really their cup of tea. And I do understand that I can rub people. I don't think I rub people the wrong way, but I do know that I make people uncomfortable with that sometimes just because I'm so forthcoming with it. But,
you own it, and that's your personality, and that's you, right? And that's how that works. Mm-hmm. Someone that's not their personality, it may rub them the wrong way. I'm coming at this from a different place. Someone that's not their personality can learn a lot from that because they can take that and go, that worked for him. I've got this situation where I don't want people to make fun of me or I don't want people to come at me. And if I just own it then
Yeah.
they have no power over that situation.
Yeah. And you know, it certainly does help me to process quicker, you know. But I compartmentalized some, and I hurt just like everybody else, and it kept me awake. I had like racing thoughts the second night, which I don't get racing thoughts. It's new to me. It's really the only time that I ever had it, but it's sort of like that whole that movie where Casey gets these, but you just think every time you pass a truck that's got something on it that something's gonna fall off of it and come through and hit you in the face. You know?
Yeah.
What's that movie? I can't think of it, but
Final Destination.
Yeah. She's just everything's just Final Destination all the time. And sorry, I had to move this thing around so I could still see. But she, I'm so not like that. But I definitely that night woke up and just, obviously my anxiety was through the fucking roof, and it worked out because everybody else was gone. They all went down to the pool a little bit early and let me sleep, and I got up and I was fine. So, I don't know. I wanted to share that story on this podcast because I know what we talk about a lot is funny and fun, and and obviously we go all over the place. But I just wanted everybody, I think, to just sort of take stock in stuff and just be careful out there. It's summer, it's vacation time. We're all doing shit that, like, there's a few things that I can say. When they say, if you're on a cruise and they tell you not to rent the mopeds on the island, don't rent the fucking mopeds on the island.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't do it. And there's a reason they tell you not to do it, But if you fucking hurt yourself or whatever, they can't wait for you, And
Right. There's
all kinds of other aspects of that. They say people will run you off the road and, on purpose and shit. So just be safe out there, guys. If you're at the lake and all of that. And also, I realize this seems crazy, but, whoever's driving the boat really, really, really should kind of not drink. I mean, I realize that most people get out there and just go fucking crazy, and I'm not your dad, but man, we were real lucky because Derek stayed sober on the pontoon boat, and I'm going to add to the story now. So I left on the jet ski. Fisher jumped on his, and we left. And I drove real slow on the way back. Not really slow, but just slow enough to where I just was considering everything that just happened.
Yeah.
And our drive back was about 20 minutes to the rental place. And so, just in the water and in the sun and just feeling the waves on my face, and just again, I sort of wish I had music. I think that's the only thing that would have made it better. Of this whole, excuse me, reflection thing. But someone was watching out for me the whole time because I didn't stay on the boat. Because the boat didn't start.
Oh,
That's
no.
right. That's right. We're in the middle of Crab Island. Just had a near-death experience with my daughter. I take off on a jet ski. They're consoling her. The rest of everybody else is kind of a mess too. Like we had gotten back to the boat, and Amy, who everybody knows from, if you know me, but is a really good friend, and she like immediately saw that there was something going on, and she gets over the jet. She like gets in Emma's face, like, "You're safe now. You're here. Okay, now I've got. Sorry." She's like, "You're safe now." And is like in her face, and at the same time like grabbing my hand, and I'm just completely focused, just like locked in on like I just need to get this thing back, and I'm just done on the ocean right now. I'm not
Right.
done on the ocean forever. I'm not done on jet skis forever. I'm done right this minute.
Right.
And Amy was such a champ. Everybody was great. Everybody came over and helped, and but I'll never forget that. And anyway, they got her up there and consoling her, and off we go on our little adventure, and the fucking boat doesn't start. If I was still there and that boat didn't start, I would have come fucking unglued, Gary, as you know. Like, that would have been literally it. Like, I would have exploded.
Yeah.
Because there's just, I am an anxious person, and there's just a certain amount that I can take, and that would have been it. But apparently, it just happens. So a guy just comes up on this little boat. He jumps up on the thing. It's like it took 10 minutes.
A guy from the
jumps
Crab Island or a guy from the boat rental?
No, from the boat rental. They had rented from a different place, so they were closer.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
this guy comes up in 10 minutes. Sorry, I cried. He comes in on 10. I don't mean to apologize for that. Fuck it. This guy comes up in 10 minutes. He switches the thing out, but and that worked out great too because me and Fisher got home before everybody else, and I got to go inside and like I sat down, like chilling I thought I wanted a beer. Apparently I didn't. I just kind of sitting there and doing my thing, and but yeah, man, it was quite a thing. But I do recommend Crab Island. I really do. It is so much fucking fun. We would have. I mean, if we ever have a day off near there, I'm serious, we should do it because you can get 14 people on one of the boats. So it's like we could do 2 of those and we could do 2 full bands and crew, or probably 3, right? And you just pull up to this thing and you drop an anchor and then you just get out and you throw shit at each other and you drink and it was just awesome. It's a great time. Highly recommended. Do not, almost die though.
Yeah.
That part, you're not going to enjoy that part. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, that part of the review is not. I don't want to do that.
We did have a great time though. I didn't mean to take over the whole episode. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, a near death, crazy life experience. That can be an episode right there.
Yeah, I feel like this is my you when you had to go to the hospital thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man, it was scary. It's you literally start doing all that stuff. Like, man, just take me, please let her be okay, and it was just fucking wild. But we have a special guest coming up. We have a good buddy that works for us, Adam Ramey, who does he helps us out with social media advertising and stuff. And he brought us a new musician. He's in a band he's known as Kickflip, but his name's Jeremy Garcia. But again, we call him Kickflip. Or
right up the road from San Antonio.
Yeah, right up the road from San Antonio. And he's a dad. So he is going to be on the show here right after these words. Y'all listen to this. Hey, and thanks for listening to me. That was good therapy.
I'm glad you're okay, buddy.
Thank you, brother. We'll be back with more Rockstar Dad Show right after this. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. And Gary, a fellow Texan.
Yeah, he was just telling me about being from San Antonio and living in Texas his whole life.
Oh, my goodness. Kickflip is here. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
So, San Antonio, man, what a cool city. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, my parents took me there. And quite frankly, it was a shithole. And now it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of improvements. A lot of like downtown area where it's like old and was like quote unquote probably shithole area. I mean, there's still some of those in every city, but
of course
they're starting to revamp it and like expand the whole river situation. And man, it's really nice. Yeah,
that Riverwalk is dope as shit, and how it ends in a mall, and then there's just I remember the Alamo used to sit like amongst a bunch of like old shopping centers and shit. Now there's a Chipotle there now. And you can
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, and I don't go there too much, but yeah, there's newer things there now.
Yeah, man. Well, it's super cool to have you on the show, man. Well, let's just get to know you a little bit, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about yourself and growing up in Texas and how you got into music.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in San Antonio. I haven't lived anywhere else. Love this city, especially now. I got a little 3-year-old baby girl. I don't know if I'll ever end up moving, but being in the music industry, who knows? I got into music at a young age. I picked up piano probably around like 5 years old or so, maybe 5 or 6. That was my first instrument. And then from there, honestly, it's history. Like my grandfather plays saxophone. My mother sings, and it's just kind of like runs in the family. A lot of my other family members very musically inclined. So I think naturally, if I had an ounce of music in my blood, it was going to end up manifesting some way.
Right.
So yeah, it started manifesting very early on, and then somewhere around middle school, I picked up the drums. I joined band and went through that whole experience in school. Ended up, doing marching band in high school for a little bit on the snare drum, and that was exciting. And yeah, so I mean, here I am now. Really, after high school, I went to school for audio, and that really kind of brought me more into the music industry.
Yeah.
As an audio engineer, I do live sound. I've been doing that for probably 10 years now.
Oh, nice.
And so that really kind of drew me into the industry and started networking, doing things there. And then
Yeah, I was gonna say that doing live sound to me seems like, for an up and coming musician, it's not something that I ever did, but it seems like a great networking opportunity.
yeah, it really is. I mean, you get a lot of, bigger bands, like bands you guys are part of coming through that I get to work with and shake hands with and talk to. And, over time, years, it builds up and you start to recognize people, other people recognize you, your name gets around, and it really helps out a lot, especially if you're trying to build your own music brand as well and come out with your own music. So I think it was a great move. I think regardless though, I wanted to do something that I love doing. And, audio, I picked up Ableton, I think when I was like 12 years old. It was a gift. And I started producing. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So, it kind of worked out. I went down that route. And so now my life is filled with music. Somewhere along the way, I picked up marketing. And, that's how I ended up meeting Adam and working with Adam as well. So it all just kind of goes together. I think it's important as an artist to, to find something in the industry that in a way that you can add value. So that you can, make a name for yourself and add value and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's a little bit about me and my music.
Love it. Adam Ramey from the Dropout Kings, who he owns Push Digital and who works with Bowling for Soup and works with me on the stuff that I do on the side as well. And quite a hustler, but he's the one that introduced us. And and you got some cool stuff going on. What's going on before we get into being a dad? What's going on with music right now?
Yeah. So as far as music right now, I just launched my solo project, Kickflip, probably around a couple months ago. My latest single called Play the Victim, I just released. And I have one more single before that called Better Off Honest that's featuring this band Notions. And that's it. I'm sitting on 2 singles right now, looking to continually drop, singles over the course of the year. I'm just really excited. It's kind of like a pop punk trap mix vibe that I have going on. I think the 2 releases that I have right now are more on the trap side, but I do have plans to start releasing some more pop punk, genre music, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, man. I think that there's a way those 2 things fit together. I've been telling Adam that Dropout Kings and Bowling for Soup need to do a song. I think he even sent me an idea, and I've just been like, so
I agree. Do it.
Yeah, but
that would be amazing.
I really do. I think it would be just really. I think it would just be really magical the way that it would come together, whatever. But you're melding the 2 of them together too. So what's a live experience like for you then? Is it you at a turntable or do you have a band?
Yeah, that's a great question. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I actually have not had any live shows.
Right.
I'm a drummer, like I mentioned as well. I drum in a few other bands. One of them is called Balancing the Different. The other one's called Indigo, spelled NDGO. And so a lot of the shows that I'm playing right now are drum related. But I have not played any shows for Kickflip yet. I think when that does happen, it would most likely be a band situation. I think being in the music industry and in the live scene, I've seen artists come up with backing tracks and just vocals. I've also seen artists come up with full bands, and they probably didn't have to, but the energy is so much better.
Sure.
I would have to go that route as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun. There's so many cool places to play there in San Antonio too.
Yeah, there really is.
We gosh, man.
That's one of the things, Jaret, you were saying earlier that growing up San Antonio is kind of a dump. Like back in the day when we started playing there, I was like, oh man, it's kind of I didn't have the best vibe for San Antonio, but we went there a couple of years ago for a wedding, and it was in a different area of town. I was like, oh my God, I love this city. It's great.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's so beautiful now. Honestly, I hope nobody took offense to that. Denton used to be kind of a shithole too. I mean, it's like that's
definitely a vibe.
I think that's what the point I was trying to get at is like every city has the areas, or I'm not saying like good or bad. It just you got to go to the right spots, and we I think both kind of had the wrong idea of San Antonio in our mind. If you go to a different area, it's great.
They've been doing a lot of stuff to it, man, but we, Bowling for Soup's history. We started out doing what we could, but we played at a metal bar called Medieval Nights, and that's where we were. This dude Sean Nations, who is a friend of the show, used to put us in there, and we'd play to a metal audience all the time, but we got awesome. Fed, and we just played. But there's quite a few places. Well, tell us about becoming a dad, man. So you got a 3-year-old little girl?
Yeah, absolutely. Best thing that's ever happened in my life. I love it. 3-year-old little girl. She's gonna be 4 in August. She's already, doing amazing things. We had got her a drum set like for her first Christmas, and so she already started banging on drums, and she likes to walk around and sing, and just like make up random songs that have never been made up before, and I love that. So it's already, the music is already flowing through her, and I love it.
There's a few TikTok accounts out there and Gary, I know you don't TikTok, so I'm going to just tell you about this. But they take, like, their kid will just be singing some shit, like making up stuff. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? And they'll just make it into a song, and it is cool as shit, man.
Yes, I heavily thought of doing that.
Yeah.
I've recorded her, and like I produce and engineer myself. And so I'm kind of like, I did a little like cover for her, and she recorded. Oh man, it's the cutest
You should
thing.
do it, man, because and honestly, and then exploit your child to get you more followers.
Right.
I do it all the time. It all the time.
I mean, honestly, it sounds like a great idea, and I feel like that's something that every parent kind of has to, like, in today's day and age. Every parent kind of has to like have
make that choice.
Like, what am I gonna do here? I think ultimately we, as her parents, we decided we were just gonna keep her off. I don't even post her on my Instagram. I don't post her anywhere.
Yeah.
Although I would love to do that. And that's a great idea, but just for personal reasons.
Here's what happened to me. I wasn't going to do that either. Wasn't putting my kids on the internet or anywhere. Then I got famous, and other people started doing it for me. I'm just like, well, fuck it. If they're going to post my kids, I'm gonna post my kids.
Yes,
you can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, right? So
exactly.
Let's roll with it.
They're fucking out there. One day, like scammers were like making Instagram profiles for them and shit, and I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like,
it's gone out of my hands.
Yeah, it's out of my hands, and so now we, but we have fun doing it. But yeah, you know what? I mean, I think everybody's got to make their own decisions with all of that. My 2 older kids really didn't have a lot of screen time when they were kids, but they're older, and they're it's like now, I don't know. I think Gary and I have discussed this, like really not giving your kid enough screen time is kind of doing them a disservice, because that's how they're going to fucking go to school now.
And the era that we're in. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the trade-off there. It's understandable.
There are just so many things like that, but I definitely understand, keeping her off the internet.
Yeah, trust me. I mean, I've made my own videos just for my own personal, man, this would be a great TikTok, but
there's a bunch of friends that I have that are stars or whatever, that are famous, that they do stuff with them, but they put a smiley face over their face, or they blur out their, so there's a bunch of that. Or like, I have one friend she's really big on TikTok, and her whole thing is being a mom, but all of her interactions with her kid are to the back of her head.
Right.
And so it sort of makes up its own.
Yeah, I think I posted a story or two where like we're on the playground or something, and it's just like the back of her head or whatever. But
man, people get to know you as a dad. Well, I totally understand that, man. Well, what's next for Kickflip? And you got a couple more singles coming out?
Yeah. So next for Kickflip, I definitely have a couple more singles coming out. There's some stuff, some demos sitting there in the Dropbox I need to finish that are very close that are going to be coming out. I'm looking at probably a month from now. We'll see another release, another single. And the next one to be dropping is going to be called Homesick. So look forward to that one.
Nice. Is that autobiographical in any way? Like, did you were you away from home, or you just?
Oh no, no, not necessarily. I think I was just kind of like flowing one night. I heard I was listening to an instrumental I had, and just feelings started flowing, and I just allowed it to come out. That one was actually pretty easy to write. It only took me like an hour. I love those.
Oh yeah,
it comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, those are always the ones that everybody gravitates towards. Well, dude, tell everybody where they can find you online and how they can stay in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can find me all over any streaming platform that you would stream your music under Kickflip. And then my socials, like on Instagram, is obviously .jeremy. And on Facebook, you can find me under that as well. And yeah, I mean, I'll be continuing to post music and do my thing. So I'd love for people to follow along.
Well, dude, good luck to you, and stay in touch with us, and come back.
Absolutely.
Come back on the show anytime, man. And really happy to have gotten to meet you, and keep kicking ass, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you having me on. I love y'all's music, by the way.
Thank you, brother.
And Jaret, I mean, being from Texas and also working in the music industry, running sound, ran sound at like Floor's Country Store, and I'll be at the Rustic this weekend. And so
nice.
The country music scene is kind of like
yeah.
I never really grew up listening to it except like at family events, but like it's grown on me as an adult, and I can very much respect and appreciate it.
Thanks,
and
man.
I love your country music. That's all.
Dude, thank you, man. Well, I will be down in San Antonio soon. I'm starting to fill in the blanks, and I'm hitting all the cities. So,
that's awesome, man. Let me know. I'm sure you have your connections, but if you need anything down here, let me know.
I will, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it was great meeting both of you guys.
You too, Kickflip.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that some rockstar dads who started a show. Until the next episode.